Hey everybody, this is Dylan Theory, subscribe and like. And we're going to start breaking down the theories. Today I'm going to talk about who Prototype really is. Prototype appears to us as a robotic arm. But what if Prototype's real identity is deeper than we think, and he's no ordinary villain? My theory is that the Prototype is Elliot Ludwig, the same man who created Poppy Playtime CO. Elliot's original goal was, according to the note, to resurrect his dead wife and daughter by transferring the body's soul into his soft toys. Thus began the experiments. He, as we know, transferred the souls of children into the bodies of toys such as Huggy Wuggy, Catnap, Kissy Missy, Smiling Critters, and many others. But as we know, although these experiments were successful, they were not characterized by intelligence and kindness. The exception is probably Dog Day Poppy and Kissy Missy. Why are some animatronics good and others evil? Those animatronics that are evil, most likely when they were children and were not distinguished by good character and even more good behavior. I think that after the transfer of the soul in the toy, the character of the child remains the same and cannot change dramatically, as it would be contrary to the concept of the soul. But what about Elliot? Why is it that in Prototype form it kills the rest of the toys that children are imprisoned in? Let's get to the bottom of this. My theory is that the Prototype isn't the hand we've been shown all along, but that the Prototype is a factory that can control it up and down, setting traps in convenient places to kill the local toys that imprison the children's souls. Perhaps in the course of a failed experiment, instead of transferring the child's soul, Elliot's soul was transferred, but not into a toy, a whole factory. What if the Prototype is a factory and he can control it? It's coming out of all sorts of places, from ventilation shafts to the ceiling. But then why the sharp hand? I think that's the only thing he's got that's so deadly so far. As we know, throughout the toy factory, there are robot assistants, robot shop assistants that help create the toys. And the Prototype controls these arms, because I can't explain that one arm can move around the whole factory. He's got a bunch of arms, which explains why he took Mommy's body. He's trying to reassemble his body and move a piece of his soul into this new body to make it easier to kill and control. So why doesn't the Prototype with those skills kill the protagonist and Poppy? Simple. Either the Prototype, and that is Elliot, is familiar with the protagonist and is a close person to him, like a best friend, relative, or acquaintance. Or he's using the protagonist, like Poppy, for his own purposes. In fact, Poppy and Prototype have similar goals. Both want to fix the factory and pay off their sins. But Poppy tries to fix it in a peaceful way, trying to befriend and mend the broken children and their souls. For now, Elliot, or else there is a Prototype to kill these toys, these children. Perhaps the Prototype is a villain, not completely, but only one who tries to atone for his sins by destroying the monsters as toys, in which are locked the souls of the evil children that once killed innocent people during the event Fun Time. And the main character himself, according to the story of the game, came to atone for his sins, to help or destroy the local monsters. My theory is that near the end of the game, the protagonist will have a choice to make. Join either Prototype or Poppy. Both have the same goals but different methods of solution, and therefore they will not be able to somehow make an alliance. Also, the contradiction of the Prototype is shown by the fact that when he kills Catnap from the ceiling, you can see a divine, warm, bright light. So far, the whole game we have been haunted by only cold light, as if reflecting the gravity of our actions and the actions of all that happened in the factory. Also, during the whole game, from the beginning to the end, you can see a lot of similarities with another series of games, no less and maybe even more popular than FNAF. Perhaps the creator of this game was inspired by the FNAF series and got carried away with it too much. As the concept of children's souls being trapped in toys is very similar to that in FNAF, the souls of children are trapped inside animatronics. Also, at the beginning of Poppy Playtime, in the first chapter, you can see a cutscene with Elliot. The cutscene itself was done in purple, which refers to Purple Guy from the same FNAF series. As for Prototype being an entire factory, I also said in a previous video that Prototype is Ollie. And it is through Ollie that he can manipulate the player, because Ollie is basically just a phone inside the factory. The approach that the child's character is preserved after the soul is transferred into the toy opens up new questions about the nature of the human soul and its relationship to the body. The idea of the prototype as an entire factory, capable of controlling robotic arms and other devices within it, makes it possible to explain its actions and abilities in play. As well as the idea that Prototype and Poppy have similar goals but different methods of achieving them, adds interesting tension and moral choices for the player. The ability to choose sides between Prototype and Poppy can be an exciting twist in the story, creating the possibility for different endings and story development. Also worth noting are the moments of inconsistency in the behavior of the Prototype, who either destroys other toys or appears as a benevolent helping hand. Perhaps this indicates an internal struggle, or even a split personality resulting from Elliot's experiments and experience. Perhaps one personality is struggling to help the souls in the bodies of the toys, and the other to destroy them. Also worth considering is the possibility that the events in Poppy Playtime may have wider implications than they seem. Perhaps the fate of the factory and its creator is connected to something much more global and dangerous than just the conflict between Prototype and Poppy. This opens up additional possibilities for story development and adds tension to the gameplay. One could also consider the possibility that the Prototype not only controls the factory, but also has the ability to manipulate time or space. This could explain his ability to appear in different places and use a variety of traps for the player and other characters. He may have technology that allows him to create time loops or even travel between different dimensions. Perhaps it was Prototype, or rather Elliot Ludwig, who created the red smoke for catnap, which means he knows the formula. This suggests that the Prototype may have the ability to manipulate the surrounding reality, creating illusions, changing the scenery, or even temporarily changing the rules of the game. This can lead to unexpected and confusing situations that require the player to be savvy and react quickly. Most likely, his manipulation of reality may be something akin to catnap smoke. But why did Elliot create the red smoke that causes children to have nightmares at night? Elliot may have been interested in studying dreams and the subconscious minds of children. Red smoke could cause specific visions and nightmares that he could analyze to understand the psychological and emotional states of his subjects, so that future experiments would be more and more successful. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. Good luck to everyone.